One of the biggest struggles I feel like for new real estate investors is generating leads. How do I find those off market deals, meaning the deals that aren't shown on Zillow, the deals that aren't shown on the MLS, and get a hold of those owners to see if they would be willing to sell to me? Now, I've been in this struggle before. And there's a lot of different ways that you can generate leads. And I'm sure we'll cover a lot of these in different podcasts throughout this journey. But I want to focus on one today. And it's through using a piece of software that I use personally. And this is why I'm talking about it, because it helps me so much when I'm finding deals, is called PropStream. Okay. PropStream is a software that just the simplest form has a ton of data that it gives you access to. So it gives you, the property owners, the status they're in, how much they bought the property for, what the property's worth now. It gives you comps. It gives you how long they've owned the property, how much equity they have in the property, if they went through a divorce, if they inherited the property. I mean, pretty much every detail that you could possibly want, PropStream has it. And that's why I use it. And I'll go ahead and tell you guys, if you guys want to check out PropStream, text me the word prop, P-R-O-P, to 864-660-7148. Again, that's prop, 864-660-7148. And that'll send you a link for you to check it out. It's pretty darn awesome. But when I get on there, it can be overwhelming at first if you don't know what to do with all the data. And so I want to take you guys through a couple of the ways that I filter the data in PropStream to attack the type of sellers that I am personally looking for, that I feel as though gives me the best chance to be able to get a property under contract for the least amount of time spent to get that property under contract. Because as you've heard, I'm not a full-time wholesaler. I'm not a full-time flipper. So I'm not on the phones all day. I'm not sending out mailers all day. I want to be able to attack these people, and get the most bang for my buck. So what am I looking for when what type of seller am I looking for? So when I get on PropStream and I hit the filter button, what do I filter down to give me the best chance at getting the property I want? So number one, you got to nail down your area. Okay. So what area are you looking to invest in? And once we've got that neighborhood, we can hover over that neighborhood, and I will start with pulling the data of vacant properties. Okay. So let's say I hover over this neighborhood of 300 homes, 500, whatever the number is. I will then plug in, okay, I want to know all of the vacant homes in the area, and I'll click search. And so then it'll pull me, let's say there's 20 homes that are vacant in that area. I will pull that list of vacant homes. And what I do when I say pull that list is I click this button that says select all. So it highlights all 20, and then I save them as a new list. And so I'll say vacant homes in area 1. And so I know that these are a list of all the vacant homes in area 1. Okay. Then I go back to my filter and I type in, I remove vacant, and I do out of state owners. All right. And I will allow that to be under a person's name. So an out of state owner who lives in a different area, and an outer state owner that could be an LLC. So it can be a corporation or a person. And again, I'll highlight all those and I'll mark them out of state owners in area 1. Then I move to out of town owners. Okay. It's people who own this property. They don't live out of state, but they're not local. And I'll do that for a personal name and for LLCs. All right. And what you'll notice is a lot of times when you're pulling those out of state or out of town folks, there are other investors. Not all the time. Sometimes it can be an inheritance thing, or there's a lot of wild stories of what it could be out there. But a lot of times you'll see that those are other investors who own the properties and they live out of town or out of state. Now, another list I will pull when I am contacting owner occupied homes. Okay. The last ones I've told you aren't owner occupied homes. Vacant, nobody lives in there. Out of state owner, they probably don't live there unless it's a second home. And out of town owner, they don't live there unless it's a second home. But this fourth list is actually owner occupied homes. And I used to not spend any time calling owner occupied homes, right? When I say calling, just reaching out and saying, hey, will you sell your property? But as I have progressed in my real estate journey, I've realized there's a lot of opportunity there with owner occupied homes. And so a good list, and I actually got this list from my buddy Henry Washington. Shout out to Henry. He's fantastic. Go follow him at Henry Washington on Instagram if you don't. Just a great guy, gem of a guy, brilliant at real estate. Was speaking to our group one night. He's like, here's a fantastic list that he's had success with when calling owner occupied homes, people who live in their homes. And it's people who've owned their home for 10 plus years. So you're going to plug that into PropStream. Owner has owned home for 10 plus years. It's their personal home. Okay. So owner occupied, and they have at least 40% equity. Okay. And what we have seen with that, what Henry had seen, and then now that I'm doing what I've seen, is these people have a decent chunk of change in this property. They've been there for a long time, and they will entertain hearing somebody making them an offer. And you can get real creative when you're making these offers, totally different subject. But that is a great list to pull from people who may be interested in selling, people who've been in one place for a long time, and they have a lot of equity in their house. Another list that I pull when I'm on PropStream is tax delinquent properties. It gives you this information. So you literally can go click, see who's tax delinquent, pull that list, save it. Now you have a list of all the properties in your target area of tax delinquent owners. And then two more that I really like are properties that were inherited. Okay. Because a lot of times when people inherit property, they don't really want anything to do with them. And so they'll sell them and get rid of them. And then the second is people who've had a recent divorce. All right. You know, there's a nasty divorce. One of the spouses gets left with the home. They're a lot of times ready to part with it, and you can get a really good deal. I've bought properties off of divorces. I bought properties off of the parent now being in jail. I bought properties off of the parents passing away and the kids not wanting it. So you just don't know till you start digging in and asking these people, hey, you know, why are you selling? But these filters on PropStream will give you a huge heads up. So you say, okay, great. I've got these properties. I've got all these lists saved, right? I know who the vacant owners are, the out-of-state owners, out of town, the owners with a lot of equity who are owner occupied, tax delinquent, inherited, all of that. So I got them in different lists. What do I do now? Well, this is where we have to go and we have to get in touch with those property owners. And there are a number of ways to do it, but I'm going to focus on one way that has worked for me out of all of them. Okay. And there's two ways you can do it. I said one way, but there's two ways under this one heading, but it's calling people. Okay. Cold calling people. And there's two ways you can do it. You can do it. Okay. So what you do is you take that list, take one of your lists, your vacant property list, and you are going to go and you're going to do what's called skip tracing, which is just a fancy word for saying I'm going to get the contact information of these property owners, because PropStream will have the property owner information, but it doesn't have their contact information. So we got to pull that from a third party. So I use an app called Skip Better. If you want the link to that, you can text me Skip to 864-660-7148, and it'll send you the link to that. And you just plug in. Okay, you're gonna take the list that you pulled, so vacant properties, and then you're gonna export that into Excel, and then you're gonna import it into Skip Better, and then Skip Better will give you all those people's phone numbers. Okay, so then you can get a hold of them, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go and you're gonna call these property owners and ask them if they're interested in selling their property. Now, if you're like myself and you don't want to spend time cold calling, what I do is I hire a cold calling company. So I pay for cold callers to take my list, skip trace it, and then call those lists. And then, so what they'll do is they have this trained team. The company I partner with has, I think, over 300 employees, and they train them. They record their calls. They have metrics. They meet with you to see how performance is going with their callers. And then once they have a hot lead, they'll hand it over to you and you can follow up. So somebody says, yeah, I'd be interested in selling my property. What do you think? You want to offer it for me? And they'll say, offer for it. And they'll say, well, let me get in touch, with my buyer and I'll have him reach out to you and then you will follow up and you'll close the deal. But the company I partner with for that is called REI Call Center. They do a fantastic job. If you want to link to chat with them to see if you would be a good fit, text me the word call, CALL, to 864-660-7148, and I will send a link over. But you're really only going to want to use a cold caller like this if you don't have time to do it yourself, and if you have the money to use them. Okay, because they're going to be above $1,000 per month to utilize them. So you want to make sure that you have that in your budget to spend, and that you say, hey, my time is worth it and I have the money to spend. If not, you can call yourself. And then there's totally different methods of sending out mailers, of doing Facebook ads, networking, all kinds of ways. But just the standard way that I tend to find a lot of properties, again, is pulling these lists off of PropStream. Fantastic app. Text me prop 864-660-7148 if you want the link to it. And then I take that list, plug it into Skip Better, get those contacts from Skip Better, and then I use REI Call Center to then call that list. They get leads, send them to me. I call the leads, close the property, and it's a well-oiled machine. But it all starts with that data at PropStream. And so I would encourage you, if you're having trouble finding off-market deals, you weren't really sure how to find them in the first place, well, I'm just giving you a fantastic starting place. It starts with the data at PropStream. So go check them out and get to work pulling these lists and getting a hold of these owners, because the only way you're going to get more deals is by reaching out to them. And if you reach out to them enough, somebody's going to want to sell. You're going to get great deals. And if you keep that going consistently, then you're going to be able to build your rental portfolio. Or if you're flipping, you're going to have so many houses come in, so much lead generation coming in, that you're going to make a lot of money. Because here's the key, guys. If we can just generate leads, the rest of the stuff kind of takes care of itself. Okay. It doesn't. I don't want to sound too flippant here, but finding these really great deals is the harder part of the entire process. Once we've found the really great deals, we can find the funding. Look, there's tons of people who will lend to you if you have a great deal. We can teach you how to manage this property. We can teach you how to flip this property. But we got to start with a lead. If we don't have a property, we can't make money. And so it starts with utilizing the data that's available to us through apps like PropStream. So hope this was helpful. So send this to somebody who you feel like it could help. It could nudge them along in their journey. Maybe you got a friend or two who would say, you know what, man, this would really help me. I've just been looking for properties on Zillow, but now I know how to go and get started finding those off-market deals. And then take a screenshot of you listening to this and tag me on Instagram at Finance Cowboy. I would love to thank you personally for listening to this show. And again, I hope this episode was helpful, and we will talk to you guys next time.